Wellness Connection is an integrative health provider over in Aldie or Stone Ridge, Virginia, and we really focus on the mind and body, the whole person. So again, we're just so thrilled to be your new partner in wellness, and we've got a lot of neat things coming up. But today, we're going to talk about quick and healthy lunches. So I have some yummy foods up here, and first thing I want to ask, does anybody have food allergies, nuts or dairy, or do we have any vegetarians or vegans in the room? We've got it all accounted for because I'm going to make a vegetarian version and a meat lovers version, one with chicken and one with beans, and I can also leave the cheese out of one of them as well, so we can keep it versatile. Welcome, come on in and sit down. Make sure you grab a handout too. So when I think of lunch, I always think of a salad or a sandwich. Those are the two things that pop into my mind today, or when I think about lunch. So I wanted to demonstrate for you how to make a mason jar salad. And then after we do that and you sample that, we'll talk about some ways that you can build a healthy sandwich as well. So mason jar salads. I know someone has already has heard of these. Anybody else heard of mason jar salads or seen them around the net or the internet? You have too?
Can you still buy
I rode upstairs.
Yes.
And a couple of weeks ago, and I saw them.
Yeah.
I saw them.
Yeah. So they're really becoming popular on the internet. You see them a lot on Pinterest. I've seen them on Instagram and things. And they're actually pretty ingenious. I was sharing with some folks before it started today, before the session started today, that it's all in the way that you set up the salad. So not only are they pretty and delicious to look at, but they can last up to 5 days. You put the dressing on the bottom and all the other ingredients toward the top stay dry. And so you're going to see how all of that works today. And they're really versatile too. You can add any types of fruits and vegetables that you want. There are a ton of recipes out there. I've given you two on your handout. I've given you a Greek one that we'll be demonstrating today. There's also a Mexican version. You can make Indian, you can make an Italian version, a chef salad, whatever you like. But the key is all in how you stack the ingredients, which we'll be showing, and that's all also included on your handout. So feel free to look at that as I'm going on. The recipes are there, and you can jot down any notes as I'm talking to that you like. So someone you had asked earlier if these really do stay fresh for up to 5 days. So most of the recipes you'll see they'll actually make 5 jars of salad, and they do last 5 days, which is 5 days worth of lunches, right? Or if you share it with your family or in your household, maybe it's 2 lunches, or in my household, I might get 1 out of them. But so they're really versatile, like I said, and they last a long time. So there might be a little prep work on the front end, about 15-20 minutes to chop and wash everything up and then to assemble them. But then think you don't have to do it for the rest of the week. It's already lined up. And everyone's going to be jealous when they see these in the fridge. You might have to put a little sign on it here with your name. I don't know if you have folks that might want to take some of those. So let's talk a little bit about the recipe, and you have that on your handout and what you're going to need. And you need 5 wide mouth mason jars. And wide mouth is really important because otherwise it's really hard to get your hands in there to put the ingredients or to get them out. I found that out the hard way. Just make sure you wash them and dry them really well. Just make sure they're really really dry, or else your materials might get wilted and such. So those are your mason jars. And then you need a dressing that you like. And I chose Newman's Own olive oil and vinegar, only because I feel like it's one that's easily accessible. You can find it at most supermarkets. The ingredient list, like I said, I know that some of you attended a seminar and learned about ingredients and salad dressings and other packaged foods and what to look for. So this one has all the ingredients are ones that you can pronounce and you can recognize, right? The sodium content is good. There's not any added sugar, which a lot of bottle dressings can have added sugar. So those are some things you want to look out for. But another trick, and the reason why this is open, is I opened it this morning and I dumped off a little bit of the excess dressing or the excess oil. Sometimes I feel like there's a lot of oil on the top of it, and then it feels like I don't get the wonderful spices and the taste of the dressing, so I dumped a little bit out this morning. So that's why it's open. So then you need a quart of cherry tomatoes, and you just have those. And I tried to do 2 different colors for you to make the salad more colorful. So I did orange and red, but now we're getting these beautiful varieties. You see all the heirloom, they're coming in season right now. So next is 6 mini cucumbers, and I just chopped those up and sliced those this morning. I like the mini ones, and you don't have to peel them, or the English cucumbers. They're very tasty. So there's cucumbers. And then olives. Some people like olives, some people don't. These are Kalamata pitted olives. Just slice those up. And I just grabbed a rotisserie chicken. So the next thing on the list are 2 cups of rotisserie chicken. I just shredded that up this morning and used that, but you could use really kind of any protein that you like. That's why I have beans here too. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you could choose chickpeas. Or maybe you want to do a combination of both. Or maybe it's meatless Mondays. Some people don't eat meat on Mondays, and they like to do just beans. Or you could use tofu or tempeh or something like that. You could even add a grain like quinoa, or maybe some rice or some whole wheat noodles and things of that nature. So then we have some chopped romaine. So just some chopped up, cleaned romaine lettuce, and then some feta cheese to sprinkle on the top. And I also brought a little Greek seasoning. You know, you could always add some seasoning on the top, or salt and pepper and things that you like. Okay. So, any questions so far as I'm going? Does it sound pretty good so far? Like I said, okay. So why don't I show you how to put it together. So the first thing you want to do is just wash and chop all of your ingredients. And as I mentioned, dressing goes first on the bottom. That just ensures everything stays nice and dry toward the top. So let me unscrew all these lids.
So you can do this like a Sunday for the
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. And then really what you want when you're storing it, just keep it upright. And I think more so when you are driving in the car, if you can wedge it so it stays upright, that way the dressing's on the bottom, unless you don't mind that it gets throughout the salad if you're gonna eat it later in the day. Take all the lids off here. So the first thing we'll do is put the dressing in. And dressing's really up to you. I mean, some people like a lot of dressing, some people like a little. Like this calls for 10 tablespoons, so divided between each of these, it would be 2 tablespoons. I find that's pretty good. Sometimes I've even done a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half. You could even just use lemon juice if you wanted, if you were really watching calories and fat. So I'm gonna make sure I shook that up really well. So let me just measure these out. So after the dressing, you're going to want to put a vegetable or something that you don't mind that it gets a little like marinated. Like tomatoes to me sound pretty good like if they're marinated. And that tip is on your worksheet as well. They'll marinate in the dressing a little. So it's got to be something hearty at the bottom because it's going to be the thing that's against the item that's against the dressing. So there we go. I think that was 2 in each one. All right, grab the lid. The other thing I like about these, and this is why I'm not so much of a baker, when I cook, I kind of cook like a painter. This is how my husband and my mom describe it. I like to just kind of be creative, and so there's really no set rules with this. Just fill it as to what looks good for you. So you just divide these tomatoes evenly in here. You don't have to be really precise, I guess is what I was trying to say. Sometimes I have trouble with the precision in baking and all the measurements, so you just kind of eyeball it. This quart of tomatoes. Hi there, welcome. Let's see if I can get some more in there.
Do you have any idea the calories on this when it's made?
That's a good question. I can find out for you.
Not that important, I'm just curious.
I think it is, if you look up the recipe, it is under there. It does give the calorie count. It's pretty low. It's really, there's some fat in the dressing, the calories in the dressing, but there's so many veggies in this. Did I get it just about even? I think that's good. So the next thing we've got are the cucumbers. We'll layer those in next. And I just think the colors of these are so pretty to look at. Let's get some over here. How are these looking to you guys so far? Like something you could try?
Oh, yeah.
So again, I'm still sticking with the hearty vegetables that are going more toward the bottom, just to stand up to the dressing, especially if you're not going to eat it that day or then the next day. But yeah, I love the idea of putting these together Sunday night so you're ready for the week. You're making your own convenience food. All right. Does that look pretty even too? You guys keep me honest, you can see the front of these a little better.
You're in the right ballpark.
All right. It's like I said, they're not totally precise. Okay, so next after that, does anyone not like olives? I can make one without them. I'm seeing some faces with them. I won't put them in all of them. Just
Do you have
sprinkle.
any admonitions or preferences, like on supermarkets to go through, like only Whole Foods or Safeway's okay, or?
You know, they all carry healthy things. You just have to know what to look for. You know, I like the versatility of a store like Wegmans just because they have so much of everything. Sometimes I find like Giant and Safeway can be a little more limited in their produce than I would like them to be, but boy, packaged goods, and Giant has a huge organic natural section now. I guess I should have brought a spoon. I'm gonna grab this one so I can get the olives out of here. But that's a great question. You know, I think it's entirely, you can find healthy options at any supermarket if you know what you're looking for. I kind of shop everywhere. And Target has great options too, and from what I'm hearing, Costco is one of the leading providers of organic foods, and there's a lot of organic produce. They have really good wild-caught salmon. Just do maybe one more with this. Great questions. Any other questions as I'm going on through things?
What's the best store to make sure you buy the wide mouth jars?
That's a good question too. Target is out of them a lot. So at least the ones that I went to, they had blue ones recently, which are really pretty. But Wegmans always has them, and they do still sell them. Yeah. Wegmans has them. And yeah, they do still have them. A lot of people still do canning and jarring. So there we've got some olives sprinkled in. And now some rotisserie chicken. And I just grabbed this from the grocery store. You might even have leftover chicken that you've grilled. I think eggplant would taste really good in this too. I'm trying to keep, or red pepper, roasted red pepper, or fresh red pepper. Red pepper is so good for you. It has just as much vitamin C as, actually more vitamin C than oranges, which some people don't know.
Color peppers or red peppers?
Red peppers.
I don't eat meat, so if you would.
I am definitely I'm gonna do 2 with chickpeas. How about cheese? Is feta cheese okay? Anyone, should I make one without feta? Anyone? Okay. I am well prepared for you. I'll do the next 2 with chickpeas.
Chickpeas. A new jar based on this that has a container for the dressing in the lid. So
They are smart marketers. They are on top of it.
So it's got a little section where the dressing goes?
It's in the lid. They put it in the lid to make these salads in the jars.
That's wonderful.
So when it's time to eat it, you just undo the lid and put it in?
Amazing. I was looking up the calories and
I was just curious, it's not that.
So,
Is that stainless steel lid?
mm-hmm. Yes. So again, look how pretty these are looking so far, so colorful. So again, hearty ingredients down on the bottom, and then you're kind of getting softer as I'm going up. So here's the chicken and the chickpeas, and next is, we'll put the lettuce. And in the recipe, it calls for the cheese actually next, but I think cheese and nuts and things like those kinds of fixins and goodies stay fresher more on the top, maybe more of the sprinkles and things that you're putting. And these again are so fun. I've seen people do ones with sunflower seeds and raisins or apricots. There's so many things that you can do, or making like an Asian noodle bowl where they've done maybe some peanut sauce on the bottom and noodles and green onions and of those varieties. You're gonna find a ton of, now I'm gonna get you hooked, and you'll see a ton of recipes online. So we'll finish off with the lettuce. Actually, we'll finish with the cheese, but I'll put the lettuce on the top. Sometimes I get a little carried away and I don't leave enough room for lettuce, so you wanna make sure you leave enough room so you have plenty of greens. And you can, if you leave enough room, you could eat this out of the jar if you wanted to, if you could shake it up enough. But when you dump it out on a plate, you'll see just how pretty it is, that it makes this perfect bed of lettuce on the bottom, and then all of the ingredients are on, the goodies are on the top. So, I told you I cook like I paint, right? I make a mess too. I tend to spill things everywhere, so. There, so you can start to see what they're shaping up to look like. And this actually is one of the bags of romaine, the hearts of romaine. This was just one of those bags. There's like 3 hearts of romaine in there, in the bag, so that made plenty. And actually, I'll probably have some extra, so you could use that for another salad, if you like. You guys all getting hungry? Okay. I'll just finish off with the lettuce. I'm gonna make sure I leave a little room for some of the cheese on the top. Smash this down a little.
And the recipes, and just go look online for mason jar recipes.
If you Google mason jar salads, or if you look up the 2 recipes I provided, the sources, she has a lot more recipes and demos that's on her site. I think it's Organize Yourself Skinny was one of them. She has a lot of really good ones. And where I took some of the content was from BuzzFeed. Actually, BuzzFeed, if you ever look at that site, they had a lot of recipes that they pulled from different cooks as well. All right. I get very excited about colors in nature, so I just think these are so pretty to look at. So we'll just sprinkle some feta on the top. And it calls for, I think it's 3/4 cup feta cheese, and you can adjust that up or down as well. And some of you might avoid it if you don't want to put that in there. I'll do one without.